I have to shift my focus a little bit. I was working on documents in Clojure that I was using a 3D library from, but now I have to, for a little bit of work I'm doing for someone, I have to use a similar library but only the 2D diagram extensions. So I'm gonna shift the focus for this stream to setting that up and starting with creating a few diagrams, which I'll explain as I go. I'm pretty keen on trying out something I fiddled around with as well. 1 second, let me see if this is going okay. Things look all right. I was messing around with a slight change to the workflow I've been using, and I'm gonna kind of test that out a little bit today too. So we'll see if that's smoother. So I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. Yet again, this is gonna be kind of a learning process stream, as all of mine have been lately. The road to knowing exactly what I'm doing is a slow and steady one, so I'm hoping today's stream will be pretty good. I have to just turn off my AC actually, so that it's not making noise while I'm programming, but I can start to get into it a little bit here. So what I can actually showcase the idea I had here. I have this little snippet here that I'm going to run in my terminal that uses a little program I found called FS Watch, and you run the program and it'll watch this particular file, and then it'll pipe through into Xargs the name of the file that's being watched, and then it'll pipe that into my main function, which will build the file. So that should work. If I run this, and then if I open background.md, which is right here, if I just save that, it will have detected the change, and it will have run my library code here and created the HTML, which this is the wrong background.html. So if I save it, it'll rerun it again and it'll recreate it again. And this will refresh here. So there we go. So this is some random colors. Anytime you run the build function, the way I wrote this background generator thing, it'll randomly select colors, so the colors will always change here. But I'm still manually refreshing, so the next thing to do is here, if I make another terminal tab here, and in this same folder, if I just run live server, as I've done before, it now is ready to detect changes, and I can go here, right? So now, if I open up in my Emacs here, background.md, now, if I save a change to this, save that, in the background, like in the terminal, it's running the build function, and showing up as a change here. So I'm gonna see if this is a useful approach for the day, where I have basically everything in one workspace, right? So I've got my little notes here, which showcase the adjusted workflow and start working on the next pattern document, which I'll start up in just a moment. I've got whatever file I'm editing here in the main pane, and then I have a REPL, which is not different. And then I have here a browser that can show me, that I can open up and show different windows to and stuff like that. But actually, I have to make sure I don't have any hidden windows or just I'm just messing with some windows for a second. Boring to watch anyway, but just in case I accidentally had like private user information open on some of my other windows, I don't want that visible. So as I stream, I do hide my, like, I don't keep the viewer count visible or anything like that. So I never quite know, and I actually kind of prefer it that way. I just kind of assume that there are people tuning in now, or maybe watching a VOD later on, who knows. But if you're watching this at any point, live or later, I really do appreciate that. Thanks so much. Please feel free to chat, ask questions, comment, talk about whatever. It doesn't have to be even about programming if you don't want it to be. If you're just watching and you don't want to talk, that is totally cool too. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm just glad that I get some eyes on this, because I really enjoy doing this, and I want to keep doing it. So, you know, the more engagement I get, the happier I feel about it, of course, and you know, we can kind of build this up over time. So, hey, if you're tuned in, feel free to comment and chat and whatnot. I'd love it. Or like I said, just keep watching. Let me go back to here. So, right, so I've got this this file that if I change things here, and as an example, if let's say I can even change the width here. Let's make it 700 by 700. So save that, let it build in the background, and it'll update right here, and suddenly we have a bigger image. So that's obviously the flaw in trying to cram all of my stuff into a single screen here, right? If I have a diagram that's larger, I can't see the whole thing without changing the zoom level. But I'm totally cool with that for right now. So here, that is the basic idea of the workflow. Now, what I have to do today is, I mentioned this in other streams, but that's a wild color. I mentioned this. I make, using this code base, I make PDFs for quilt patterns. My mom designs quilts, but she doesn't necessarily have the time or desire to do the full document publishing process. So what I've done is built a parser that lets me put SVG diagrams into the document, which is actually, this is an example of that. This is text, markdown text, right? And then this is code that nicely, well, nicely is maybe subjective, but it's code that lets me describe a diagram to put in there, and then it'll parse the diagram, or it'll actually put that into the rendered thing as well. So today I have another pattern that I have to start working on, and this one there's these paper templates for different shapes to cut for the fabric. And actually, let me see here for a moment if so it's like they're relatively straightforward shapes, but they have some annotations and some lines on them there, and these have to be printable from a PDF 1-to-1 scale, because the users of the pattern will print it off, cut out the shape, right, and then use that and trace that onto whatever fabric they're using so that they can cut the exact shape of this diamond, and this is, you know, another diamond here, and so on and so forth. So it's a little bit of an involved thing today, and I'm just gonna set up my environment and start putting these into it and going from there. So that's the whole plan for today. Nice and simple Wednesday. Well, theoretically nice and simple. Yeah, so that's that. So let me close that. I have first to figure out, I do have to, so before the stream went on, I was messing around with an example which will look like this. Quilt pattern example. But it's not, I have some error in my, I copied and pasted stuff into here, and there's a bit of an error at the moment. So I have right now, I'm just trying to run, oh, let's get, there we go. Right, so here I've got, I want to run my main function in the builder and build the pattern diamond point, which is the name of the new pattern I'm going to start working on here. So here right now I'm running into this problem here where I don't have this symbol, and I'm pretty sure it's just because I have incorrectly formatted the namespace. Oops. So let me check that for a moment. I'm actually gonna let's do this. Collapse that out of the way. Let's also do this just to clean up just make this not look so overwhelming. And this too, while I'm at it, this code bits thing probably should be deleted anyway. Okay, so I have my draw part. I don't need to change that. I need to look at this here. Yeah. So if I open up the fabric extension, what I actually need to do here, I'm not sure I need to import all of these, but I'll leave them for now because there's no harm at the moment. I also need to do stylo.draw refer all. I always forget the yeah, that should work like that. All. There we go. Save that. right? So now I think this should work because it's importing the right stuff now. So we'll find out. Why would that be? So we're getting somewhere. This is just a namespace. This is just like a error with my requirements. Huh. That's a little strange. It looks like it should work. Let me see here. Use stylo.fabric, stylo.draw. Well, okay. Why would HTML not be part of that? Load file fabric.clj. Fabric.clj. So that's that's the namespace for the whole thing. It does have HTML being imported, but maybe the use thing doesn't work like I think it does. It's a little weird. Oop. Oop. Use stylo.fabric. Use stylo.draw. No, that seems like a bad idea. If I do this, will that work? Okay, I have to figure something out. Got to start a timer on my phone though. Good. All right. Why not? Why isn't it working? See, I wonder if this is failing now. For the same reason. Okay, it's still working. I guess it's just not printing out anymore for some reason. Well, okay, I guess that'll be fine. Let me try this up here though. This is rendered by Hiccup, by the Hiccup compiler. So if that works, should see that show up here. Okay, well that's incorrect. Okay, something's going wrong. Right, so if I run this on background.md, I probably see the same error now. Yeah, okay, so if I just do this though, okay. So we've got something that'll kind of work if I just do this. If I swap this out for no, I don't. I want to figure out how to get it to properly import, and I think it might be related to, no, that's not it. Let me just try something horribly messy for a minute. Right, so require this, just this. Put it at the front of this though. Let's see. Let's see if that does anything good or if it's all bad. Hey, there we go. But did it work? Close that. Hey, all right, we're on to something. So we're getting closer. We've got a few little errors here where the title is put in the wrong spot, but for getting things up and running, that is, I'm gonna call that okay for now. Here, have better support for namespace and require when rendering docs. Example, hiccup HTML compiler needed to be imported. On that note, try to eliminate use blah if possible, right? So that you can, then I can compress, like I can clean up the namespace a little bit. Actually, while I'm doing that, I think I should be able to, oops, do this. Stylo.draw refer all, and then I should hopefully be able, should be able to get rid of that. So then the only thing I'm loading is the extension file, which is this one. These are all part of the, like, from the core of the library. These are, this is an extension loaded after, so that kind of makes sense. It's not the cleanest, but it's okay for now. And here I can do a little split ski. This is text, and this, for code highlighting and such, I can call this a Clojure source, and now we get highlighting, but it should still be the same, it should still tangle the same. And if that's true, I should be able to run this again without an error. It should work. If it does, then I'm going to turn the watcher onto watching this file. Yes. Okay, so let me close this. Oh, okay. So let me rerun that command now, but instead of watching background.md, I want to watch just this file, diamondpoint.md. And now, let's see. If I make a change here, save it, then I should see a few seconds later the change show up in this part here. So if I set the name to diamond point, we'll start with a simple change. Okay, something is wrong. Okay, so we're getting a, yeah, okay. So I should be able to open that file. Oh, is it switching up the order that it's rendering in? Okay, we've got a problem with tangling. I thought it would have worked. That's strange. Well, let's let me see here. Split. I wonder if that will work. I've got some strangeness going on. Diamond point.md. It's just missing an entire section. Control X K. I guess it doesn't the source is that's maybe not ideal. Well, let's do this. If I turn that back to text, it probably tangles successfully. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Well, so see if Emacs can tangle different code types, different language blocks into same file, because that's not perfect. Same file. Well, let me try one more little thing here. Clojure. I'll just try this, and if it doesn't work, then I'll just work around this problem a little bit. Sources. If I go here as an example, copy that. I want to tangle into this file. Diamond point name diamond 1, and this name will be name diamond 2, and this one diamond 3 and diamond 4. Diamond 3, diamond 4, and in all cases I have to get rid of this now. Let's see if it'll work. Right, I've got diamond 1, diamond 2, diamond 3, and diamond 4. This is Clojure, the rest are text. So I should be able to, or I hope I'm able to do this. Diamond 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Right, so now let's open the file just to double check. Yeah, so that worked. Okay. Right, so actually on that note, be right back. I have to check some stuff for a minute. I won't be long. All right, we're back at it. So now I have a method that could work okay for writing this next quilt pattern document that I have to work on. So if you have, I like to, I assume I'm going to have more than 10 sections, so I like to have the tens place there already, because I don't like seeing stuff like this where you have, if you have 9 like that, and then the next one is like this, it's misaligned by one character. It drives me nuts. So instead, I do this. Okay, so that should work. Alright, so we're on to something. At least I think so. What I like about this is I've kind of outsourced the watching part of this program to its own separate thing. So my REPL doesn't get filled up with build things. I kind of think that's a little cleaner. I might revisit that in the future, but for right now, I kind of like separating it out that way. I also like it because I can just spawn watchers on different files all at once, and I can just have them in different tabs. So it's not all it's not all stuck in one REPL, so that's kind of nice. At least for now, it seems nice. I just had this little thought. Should my stylo lib also have an org file parser? The nice thing, if yes, I could just write org files instead of tricking org into tangling my markdown files, right? I could open up an org file, start up a REPL from that file directly, and in a separate process run the parser over the org file anytime it saves, and then render it out directly. That'd be kind of cool because I could expand that beyond a whole bunch of things, but that's for another day. This is working just fine right now. So let me get my brain back into the state of this. Zip. Hope everyone's having a good day today, by the way. My day is pretty nice. It is 29 degrees Celsius where I'm at right now, so it's pretty blazing hot. I went on a run earlier this morning, so I'm really happy that that's done now. It was not nearly as hot at the time. I'm glad I get to sit inside. I've got the curtains closed so that the sun doesn't just heat up my whole apartment that quickly, you know. But that was a nice start to the day. I like it when the weather's nice like that. Although, truth be told, a nice rainy day is just as enjoyable. You just have to enjoy it differently. Ugh, I'm on my soapbox about rainy days. Anyway, hope you're all having a good time. Okay, so we have... Let me just clean up the preamble. So what I have here is a little bit of a mess, but it works. I won't actually need this. This is SVG patterns that produce these vertical and horizontal lines, which I needed for the previous pattern, but I don't need this time. This time I just need to remember what I've done here. These colors here, these will be the fills for these. So if I change this just to C, make sure my brain's in the right place here. Once that builds, the colors I think of this should change. Oh, that's color A. Well, that's fine. So for right now, I actually don't need, all I'm going to do is just extricate. I don't need the V and H parts here. Nor do I need these, D, E, F horizontal and F vertical. I no longer need those. And this here, this whole chunk can disappear. I don't need those. So all I have is this list of that with that. Oh, didn't mean to collapse that. Let's make this kind of nicer looking again for a minute. So that should all be fine. And these will now disappear or display incorrectly because they're not defined in here anymore, which is okay, because I'm not going to use it that way. Right, so those all show up as I guess I probably should have kept CW. Actually, let me undo this just for a minute. Yeah, okay. So I'm keeping these for the time being, but these can be killed. could still get rid of these. List of these things. That's fine. Okay, so that's the preamble. Sources, I need that open most of the time. The preamble is maybe, what do I call that instead? Style defs. Sure, that's fine. That can stay like that. And then here we have something else. Okay, so that I can close. That just contains diamond 01, diamond 01, right? That's done. This first one, I don't know what to call them yet, so that's just filler. This is text, and it will be blueberry method, yeah. In fact, this is incorrect. This shouldn't be in here. I should have that in its own little thing. And I'll just name this blueberry method. Style defs, title, begin source, text. This will contain this diamond point, right? That's good. And then this can contain just up to there. And the name of this one, name okay, diamond 2 blueberry method. So what's actually kind of cool about this is I could, in the future, right, as more and more sections come along, I could just move this further down or further up if I needed to be in a different spot. Hey, we're onto something. Okay, sources, style defs. Here, I'm gonna bump that back up. There. We're gonna go close that up. Title, intro, sure. So here, let me see here. I have on my phone an emailed version of the text, which I'm not going to put all of it in here, but finished size 26.5 inches by 46.5 inches. I encourage you to take a few minutes and read through all the instructions. Right, so I have, like, I just have opened the document that was sent to me on my phone here. So I'm just filling in little bits. It's kind of boring to just copy and paste text over on stream. Create a but along those lines, I'm just realizing that it'd be kind of cool for me to add a little automation with shortcuts on my phone. I use an iPhone. There's an app called Shortcuts, and you can kind of automate a few things with, it is programming, but it's not like full-fledged, but you could like send stuff through SSH to other computers. So I could SSH a string of text over automatically and have it popped into a working folder or something on my computer. So that's what this is. An idea to automate that a little bit would be pretty cool. So all I have to do is, yeah, so this is working, right? Blueberry point, and now we get into this actually should be so I'm clearer on this actually. Blueberry method, right? We'll have text and it'll have a diagram. So the text, Blueberry method text, and this one is Blueberry method diagram. Sources, text, diagram. Oop, that should still not fail. Okay, that looks good so far. Right. So this is Clojure code. Yep. So what I want to do for a moment is just give these actual colors again. And also I noticed I must have done something here as an example. That is going to be this probably. Let's see. The Blueberry method, by the way, is just a little like motif that my mom she captures in her design. Every quilt she's designing, at least for the series that she's working on now, has quilt blocks in it that have these have this diamond motif, which she's calling blueberries, which is just all related to like the branding she's trying to build with it. So it's kind of a cute little thing, I think. So that's what this is, right? So the Blueberry method, actually, I could capture as a function and just leave it in the fabric library or something, because it's exactly the same or very similar in every quilt, just different colors. So maybe that'd be cool to capture that as a function of some kind. But I digress. Right, so now we're on to actually, oh wait, I got ahead of myself there. What I need, or what I want to do, is go here and change these colors so that they're real colors again. So anytime I've got a reference to BV or BH right here, for example. I'm just going to make it B. Oh, B. Save that. And once that rebuilds, those colors should be like an orange color, I believe. Yeah. So that looks kind of cool. And now for the rest of today, this I'm leaving alone because I don't need it right now. So what I do need to start doing is putting in the next templates. So template text, we'll start there. So this is text, that's the end of the sample. This pattern has some more complicated shapes. To make your pattern more to make your fabric pieces reliably, please print out and use these templates. Templates should be printed 1-to-1. Each page has a 1 by 1 inch square that you can use to verify your prints. If the square does not exactly match 1 inch, you will have to adjust your printer's scale settings. Yeah, that's good. This is also, yeah. I'm just making this up on the spot, so I'll have to like edit it and see if it's even. So note, Adam, check the original document's wording. That's fine. So template text won't show up in there because I haven't put it in the sources yet. So that's the template text. Oh, what? That's strange. Something went wrong. And the reason something went wrong is probably template text yeah. There might have been like I need the parser right now terminates on 2 new lines. Like if it doesn't match anything else, it needs 2 new lines to show the end of file. So probably when I tangled the last thing, it didn't have like a closing tag, or it had the wrong number of new lines at the end or something like that. But that works there. So templates, we've got text. And if I go like this, split that, start a new one, name, template, A, right, actually this is not going to be text, it's going to be Clojure. Let's put the opening tag here, and then template A is there. And we've got to end the source there, and I have to put, let me make a new code block here for a minute. This is text, and it's going to be the closing part of this. Templates end. Templates intro text, templates intro text, template A follows, and then templates close text. Start and end, sure. Okay, templates start text. Here at the end we've got templates end text. Start text, end text. That'll work. Name, templates, and end text. Okay, a little convoluted, but we're ending with, we've got the close tag here and the open tag for executable spots on the text parts at the start and end, and in the middle we have now a spot where we can run Clojure code. So template A is where I'm going to be starting in a moment, but this should build successfully. I've got to wait a moment. Okay, yeah, so this is here, this 4 indicates that indeed this code is being run and rendered. So finally I can start making diagrams. Oh, excuse me, a little tired today. So this is template A. It's a symmetric diamond. So I'm thinking through now how I want to make the function. So what I have available as functions are, let me actually load file. Is that a thing? Yeah, load file. What's the yeah. Use Oh, I see. I see. So when I run use, it loads all of the symbols of that namespace into the current namespace. So that might have been a mistake. Now it's kind of, this namespace has all of those in it. So if I instead would do stylo.fabric, now in here I should also have that, yeah, square function. So square takes Yep, okay, so that'll work, kind of. Let's just verify that things are working the way I think they are. If I do figure exists, right? Figure, description, content, width, height, scale, description, content. So let's make a figure here that's 500 by 300. Scale is 10 as a starting point. We'll do that. The description of this figure, I'm going to make figure template A. Yeah, that's a start. And inside the figure, I'm gonna make a square of 2 just to get this ball rolling. If I save that, will it work? Yep. Right, so here we've got the square that I asked for here, right? If I make this 12, it'll show up bigger once it builds. Yeah, okay. Now we've got something to work with. So what I'm thinking through right now is how I want to make a diamond function. So what I think I want is I want to use the polygon, SVG polygon idea. So let me go into fabric here, and HST makes a triangle of size, yeah, it makes a polygon, so I can use that as a good basis. Diamond, let's see, well, so a diamond does need to take a width and a height. We'll call it that. If you imagine the width being from like this way, and then the height being this way, then you can use the width and the height. oop, that's wrong. Gotta go like that. So if I give it that without a fabric color, then I'm just gonna call it again with the width and height like this, and nil. That way, for the next arity here, we can do width, height, and fabric, which is maybe silly to call it that, but that's essentially the color, like the CSS class that you're using as the color. And that's going to be a polygon with class line, and if fabric, otherwise clear. That's the class. And the points are going to be a point string, and one, two, three, 4 points. It's going to be 4 points total, and I'm going to make it well, so I'm going to start with okay, I'm going to finish writing this function, and then I'm going to expand on why it's obviously not complete. Well, it's obviously not complete because, so this diamond, I haven't provided enough information to draw it properly. So you need the width, you need the height, and you also need the, call it, I don't know what you would call it, but you need the center point distance from the top or something like that, right? Because I don't know where I would have to draw it, right? So I'll start by, if we assume we're starting with 0.0 at the top, the x position is going to be, actually let me do this. So it's not going to be 0, 0, it's going to be half of the width and 0 height. So we do this, width divided by 2. Yeah, that should be okay. Then it's the full width, and as a placeholder, it's not correct, but half the height. Then half the width again, and the full height. And then this last spot is half the height, no, 0, and half the height, like that. So this function should work. So that's diamond. So save that. So fabric now has a, I have to load the file again, don't I? If I whoa, what is going on here? Load file. Right, so now in this namespace I should have diamond, and it should kind of work. Well, I did something wrong, but I wonder. Clojure .repl /source diamond. .repl Source not found. Really? Huh. That surprises me a bit. Point string. 0, 0, 1, 1. Okay, that works. Here, what have I done wrong? I'm missing something. Oh, I put the arguments in incorrectly. There we go. Well, let's try that. Let's close that. Let's go back to the pattern here, template. Instead of drawing a square, let's draw diamond with 5 by 10. Let's see if it works. Let it build. Okay, so I've got something wrong. Let me inspect this. SVG, polygon. Oh yeah, okay. See this here? So Clojure would, it's really cool, but it's sometimes inconvenient. If you do 3 divided by 6, it gives you a like a fractional thing, but I need it to be a floating point for the SVG to render. So if I do, come on, this, that turns it into a float. So I just have to fix that for a minute here. It doesn't matter much because this function doesn't properly account for everything yet anyway, but for sake of visuals, I'll get it going anyway. So this should now build appropriately. Yes, we've got a diamond. Okay, that's perfect. So, I have to hold that thought. Oops, sorry. I have to be yeah, apologies, just got to take care of this. All right, I'm back at it. Before I launch back into my thoughts and trying to make code that works, thanks for tuning in if you're watching, either live or at some other time. I really do appreciate that. Please feel free to chat, leave comments, all that kind of stuff if you want to. If you don't want to, that's totally fine too. I just hope you're having a good time. So I mentioned it briefly. So I have... This is the shape of the diamond that I actually need, right? And obviously this is only symmetric about the long axis. It is not symmetric this way, right? This tail is longer, but this is symmetric both vertically and horizontally. So I need to be able to control that. So I need to pass in some other variable or parameter to the diamond function, which you might argue is actually not a diamond but a kite. So I wonder if I should make that function called something different. No, I'll just call it a diamond for now because that'll be less confusing overall. Yeah. Okay. Extensions, fabric. Let's go to the diamond here. So, what's a good way to you could do so you've got the width, height, and the offset. But I'm thinking, so if offset is a percentage, right, then you could do, or offset is like a between 0 and 1, you can do multiply you'd need two offsets, width offset, height offset. Woohoo. That's kind of funny. Woohoo. Draw a diamond. Of width and height with width offset and height offset. That's not fully helpful, but at least it's a document string, which I should add doc strings to all functions that are used in draw, builder, chunk, and fabric. So that's part of a refactor to actually give a bit of documentation so that it's not confusing, or less confusing anyway. So here, right, for the width, instead of dividing it by 2, you multiply it by the width offset, and likewise here for the height stuff, which actually I should make a little clearer by just doing a let. With the width offset distance they're factors. Is factor the right word? Coefficient, parameter, whatever. Come up with that a little later. So here, the width offset distance is multiplying width by the factor. Likewise with the height by the height offset factor. So I would like to have defaults because it'd be nice to not have to type them in if you don't need them, but for right now, being forced to put them in isn't that bad. So then all of this becomes a little simpler here, a little cleaner. So we got the WOD there, full W, and the HOD, WOD, HOD. So that is all inside a let statement, which gets put there. So that's diamond. This will break now. That's my bad. Fabric, diamond, I need to call. So 0.5, 0.5 should look the same. And then if I make this 0.25, hopefully that works. Maybe I broke it. I may have broken something. Indeed. Null. Okay. Let's load file fabric.clj diamond. Two, 0.5, 0.5. No. Yeah, okay. What did I do? I goofed it up. Oh, here. Try that. There we go. That's what I needed. Perfect. Okay, so we have, let's see, should now, in theory, have something that works. Yeah, there we go. That's cool. I like that. So the reason, let me actually see what this looks like. This might look weird, but the reason, so I was initially thinking I would just have the height offset factor, not a width offset factor, but then I thought, so that's a weird looking diamond. It's not a diamond anymore. But the reason I wanted to do that is so that I could draw the same diamond horizontally without using a rotate function, because that can be useful sometimes, right? So if I do that, and then I have another one, nested inside a move 5 over like that. What did I do? Oop. Move. So we got the first diamond is horizontal, and I want to make this one vertical. 5 by 10, 0.5, 0.25. So hopefully that'll render appropriately. It should. Yeah. So I didn't move it over far enough, but I feel like the idea is sensible. Cool. All right, that's a good function. I'm happy with that. So now what I need to do is define maybe it's just a def. Template A is just going to be the list well, actually, let me first off, we'll start extremely simple. List, just make it one diamond. List, diamond, it's gonna be, the height of it is, let me measure this for a minute. And the width is oh boy, that's, let's go with 6.5. 6.5 and 10. I'm assuming inches as the scale, and this is just for the scale here will change in the future, and the offset percentage for this is going to be approximately I don't have the right tools to do this like with perfect accuracy, so I'm just kind of guessing a little bit, but to stub it in place is fine, and check the measurements again later is totally cool too. So that's 3.25 divided by 10 is what, right? We got 3.25. Oh, that was really silly. You just moved the decimal over there, buddy. Ugh, jeez. Right, so that should be, that should work. This should render out to one diamond with the proper proportions of this piece. Not the right scale yet, because I'm going to worry about that later. But that looks kind of right. Let me double check something here for a minute. Yep. Yeah. Oh, it's only 5.25, not 6.5. Oh no. I'm looking at the wrong piece. 6.5 a half, and this is still 10. So that's good. So if I'm just measuring with a crappy ruler to get a starting point, that's all. Now the next thing is 5 and 5.75. So this list is not complete. So there's another diamond nested inside it. With a different that's just a guideline, it's not a cut line, but this one's a cut line. We'll worry about that later. 5.75, and the height is not 10 inches, it's going to be 9 inches. And the percentage down is going to be a little different, I think, for it to nest in there properly. We've got 2.875. Oof, that's messy. Well, I'll just do that for now. That should be that part. So one thing I haven't done yet, so this won't be correct because I still have to shift the second diamond down and to the right to center it in there. Yeah, right? So to move that, we gotta wrap it in a move this. And the move is actually gonna be well, I'll hard code it. I'm thinking of making an inset function or an outset function, or I need to make a generalized offset function, probably. Probably that would be smart, but that's a little harder than just hard coding it at this time. That's okay. Okay, so to move it over, it's going to be 6.5 minus 5.75 divided by 2 is the x direction, and y is going to have a similar logic to it. So this should be at least wrapped in a let, so I'm not repeating hard-coded values, right? But I'll do that in a minute, just to see if this is actually going to be correct. The y will be 10 minus 9. So it's obviously easy to do that math in your own head, but I'm just seeing if it works. Well, I did something wrong. Let me see here. Gotta be float. There, okay. So that's, you can tell it's not actually correct, right? So if I double this size here, and then I'll zoom in on this a little bit, unless it's just a trick of my mind, of the eye, but this looks like the offset's not. Scale works backwards. There we go. Yeah, so you can see here, you can tell. I'll zoom in even further, right? You can just visually see that the distance here to here, the perpendicular distance is greater here than it is here. So that means my, well, that just means this isn't completely accurate yet. So I happen to know that the correct offset, right? So this inner shape is the intended visible dimension of the piece, right? Which means when you sew two pieces of fabric together, you actually, it's not like you can just, it's not like tape, right? You don't just, they're not just butted against each other. You have to take up a seam allowance, right? So you actually sew it like this, and then fold it outward again. So part of the fabric is consumed in the seam itself, and that's just by default with the patterns I've been working with, a 1/4 inch. So I'm just trying to think through for a minute an easy way to offset a diamond like this. But I'm realizing, since the offset is perpendicular to the edges of the diamond, not to its corners, that it's actually a little more involved, right? So technically you could do it with like you could use the trig functions to get the exact offset at the corners. That's that's something I don't totally want to do right now. I wonder, does SVG have a, can I exploit SVG a little bit here? Doesn't quite look like what I need. CSS, stroke dash offset, path. Well, maybe not. Bezier curves, fancy. Oh, polygon offset, maybe. Maybe there is something. Offsetting that in JavaScript. Mimic, relative position. Let's see if there's something. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Stroke width, yeah. Yeah, this is not quite what I wanted to do. So this will be something for another. That's really cool, but that'll be something to do a little later. I'd kind of rather, instead of doing all that looked really cool, but instead of doing some offset trickery in SVG, I would rather calculate the offset path in my Clojure code and just render two paths directly, or two polygons. So that's not quite what that's not quite what I need. So what I'll do instead is well, let me just add all the parts to this. Let's just do that, at least. So, and I'll just get rid of this for a moment. Let me put this in a let, like I said I would. Let width be something, and that be something. Okay, so the width of the inner thing is where what I actually want to consider the visible width is important, and the height is 9. Yeah. So we have width, and we have height, width, height. I wonder if I do change this, will that look better? Not really, not technically. The height's not divided by 2. Let's make it 0.875 and see. Here, oh, did I go the wrong way? I did. 2.125. And while I'm here, outer width is 6.5, and the outer height is 10. So just replace those: outer width, outer height, outer width, outer height. That's a good starting point, at least. So if this were just a diagram that's inside the prose itself, I could actually get away with just fudging the numbers a little bit, but this is going to be scaled up to real size and used by the users to actually make the shapes they need. So it is important that this be actually accurate. So I can't just mess around with it. So this is definitely something, the offset of the diamond shapes is an important thing to get correct. But while I'm at it, or while I'm here, this is fine. So that looks okay for now. So I know that I have to improve it, but it's, I bet I could go up like this. Yeah, it's starting to look okay. Here I can now apply a label, and label works with just text. So it's just a text element with some preset font sizes and stuff like that. It has a transform built into it for some reason. Why did I do it that way? Let me see if I can overwrite it. Wrong number of arguments. No, I cannot. Right. Scale. So translate 0, 0, scale that. Well, so let me just leave it be for now. It does mean I do this, move 0, 0, or let's move it 10 by 2 as a starting point, and the label is going to say A, like that. Save that. I should see an A appear in the labeled, or inside here somewhere, if I moved it to the right spot. No, it's way over there, but point being, it now correctly has a label on it, which is good. Let's actually move it to the center point. I wonder if this will work. Map V hash divide 2 of a vector outer width, outer height. Wonder if that'll work. So if it does work, I kind of expect this to plunk itself over here. Well, oh yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah, that's good enough for now. Times 0.5 OH. Oh, off by 1 there. And then I need a line from there's going to be point A and point B like that. Right, so the first point is half of the outer width and 0 height. Two point oh outer width, 0 height. And the second point is maximum height and half of the width again, like that. That should be something kind of close to correct. Oops. Let's see. Let's go stylo.builder. Let's run md to page of slurp diamond point.md. Oh, I didn't load that. Shoot. Okay, I thought that would have loaded. Fine. Nope. Load file. Source stylo builder.cljc. Is this gonna work? Let's see. It does, kind of. So now md to page should exist. Yes. Okay. We're good there. And slurp. Wrong number of args, pass to, come on, pass to line. Maybe it's like this. Let's try that. Yep, there we go. Okay, so that's good except for it's kind of strange looking. Let's make it a dashed line and let's move it got to move it down. It's going to be more than a 1/4 inch. It's going to be 0.375. Right, so one flaw with this, or one thing I love about this method is I can draw diagrams with a rather direct approach. What I type is what ends up being there, right? Like I can move things quite literally where I want them to be. The obvious downside is I'm doing a lot of mental math. I'm doing a lot of duplicating of the same ideas and stuff like that. So I should be able to capture more of this stuff into functions nicely. And the workflow for that is a little iffy at the moment still. So it's a starting point, but it's not completely effective yet. Right? Like, yeah, it's not perfect. But it gets the job done for now, and every pattern PDF I've been making, I've been adding functions into the library and slowly kind of refining it. So it is getting better, and I am getting a little more clever and comfortable with how to do things as well. Like this workflow, I think, is improving already from what I had before, right? Where I have a watcher here, out of process, so I don't clutter up my REPL. I'm pretty happy with that so far. It's pretty nice. I'm just thinking through, I have this chunky function, or it's not even a function, I have this weird template a def, and really what I want is to express outer width and outer height as functions of the width and height here. And that's a little bit challenging because it's not like it's a trigonometric or it's a geometric relation, right? Like cosine of this, cosine of that, which I'll derive later because sitting around doing it on stream is a little annoying, but at least I can do something. Can make a new function. Because I only actually have 2 diamond templates anyway. The rest are basically triangles, which is a lot easier to work with. This one's not a triangle, this is a weird one. I'm going to poke around on the diamond function for just a little bit longer, and probably after that I'll probably end the stream for the day. Because a lot of this pattern stuff I can do offline anyway. So, but we've got a good working start here, and the workflow I'm happy with at the moment. So that's a really big win for me today. Might not look like it, but I'm pretty happy with that. So that's good. Hope everyone's having a good time. Hope if you're working on your own projects that those are going well. I hope if you're running into any challenges that you can think with a clear head and get through it. Whoops. If there's anyone watching now wondering about what's going on, having any questions, or just wanting to chat, you go right ahead. I'm not shy to answer questions, and I'm also not afraid to show the weaknesses of the code I'm writing and stuff like that. And you know, this is all like a work in progress, right? I'm using it to make something useful, but it's not complete, and there's always room to improve. So feel free to chat away and distract me from my own confusion. Or if you're just watching, thanks. Just glad you're having a good time. Okay, so a diamond template, I'm going to assume I still need it to have a width. I need to specify a width, a height, and I'm only going to do a height offset factor because I'm going to assume up front that, wait, no, that breaks my other logic. Does it though? No, that'll be fine. Let's go with that. I think that'll be okay. Yeah. So let's start a let here. Width. So the width and height are going to be inner width and inner. Well, outer width is something, and the outer height is also something. It's some factor of the width and some factor of the height. And that factor is going to be, let's just derive a simple version here. 6.5 divided by 5.75 is a factor. Oh, I did that the wrong way. Oh no, I didn't. That's fine. Let's assume a factor of 1.13, right? This is just a really rough guess. And, oh, this won't work. That won't work. And the height, oh, that's actually the height one. And the width one, wait, no. What am I talking about? Is 10 divided by 9. Thank you. 1.11. I probably could have done that myself, eh? Whatever, that's fine. So we'll just use a rough factor of 1.12 to get the outer width and the outer height. And then the outer the height offsets we'll leave the same because that's close enough for this temporary function. So if we let those be the same, then it's basically you've got your first diamond and then you've got your second diamond, which is moved by some factor. And then you've got a line oops, and then you've got a label which is moved somewhere, label, and the label will be name, string name, just in case it's not already a string. Right, so now all I have to do is provide the right factors in here. So the first diamond, I'll just make it the outer diamond. So that's going to be outer width, outer height. Factor is for the width factor is 0.5, and the height factor is the height factor provided here from when you call the function. And this diamond is going to be moved we're going to do it this way. Moved by x and y. Those are two variables there, and it's going to be where am I looking here? This one. I don't know, I don't need to structure it that way. I could just do x and y. It's not a 7 there. Right, and these factors are they have to be calculated yet properly. So move it by x and y. This diamond here is going to be the inner width, height, and the 0.5 factor and the height offset factors there, such that diamond moved to its appropriate spot. Then this line is going to be from x No, that's wrong. It's gonna be half of the, let me make those up here. O width half it's confusing, divided by 2, outer width right, and it's gonna be outer width half, and the full height. Yeah, height, and this one's going to be offset by y, technically. Yeah, that should be close to correct. And then this label is going to be with height outer width half W, half H, half OW, half OH, because that's going to be confusing. Half outer width, half outer width. Here, full height, move, half outer width, half outer height. Okay, so that's a diamond template function. And we'll make template A dash orig here. And we'll try to recreate template A with this function, diamond template. We've got to do this right. Def template A as diamond template with a width of 5.75 and a height of 9 and a height offset of 0.325. Okay, so save that and let it rebuild for a minute and we'll see if it works. I've got an error of some kind. So let me go ahead and pull up this. Wrong number of arguments passed to diamond template. Oh, yeah. I haven't given it a name. A. If I do that, maybe it'll work. Yep, it does work. Nearly. This is going to be a line D. Okay, so that's template A. So that, well, actually, before I delete that, let's do template B, and let's try to run that. Diamond template B, and we'll draw this one, which is similar but smaller than this one. You can't really, maybe you can't tell. Right, so this is A, bigger, this is B, smaller. Get the idea, right? So B, we've got 4.5 plus an eighth, 4.625 is the 625 is the width, and the height is 8.625, and the offset percentage thing is going to be 2.375 approximate. 2 1/4. So 2.25 divided by 8.625 gives me 0.261. I really don't know if that's the most sensible way to do that. It's kind of weird. Move 0 in that, and we'll move over by 10, 0 like that. Template B. We'll see how it looks. Let me zoom this out a little bit. So should see a slightly smaller diamond setup here. B, smaller, good for now. Let me add a little note right in here so I see it again. Note, the diamond template function needs to have proper offset capability for accuracy. The factors used now will need to be replaced by a proper geometry calculation, which isn't too hard, but I just don't want to do it now. So that I just chucked in as a note right here directly, which is going to be okay for the time being. Oops. Template A, template B, well, okay, move on a little bit. Template C, this now is kind of a weird one. It's just a polygon, so I think for this one I'm gonna expose a pretty basic function in Fabric in the extension here to be, instead of diamond, I'm gonna make one that is actually just a polygon. And that's going to take a list of points, and if it does if all you pass it is a list of points, it calls itself again with the list of points and a nil for the styling. Oh, which I'll test that in a moment, but no. Yeah, that'll be fine. Points and oh wait, should it be, no, that'll be fine, because points has to be a list. Yeah, so it'll be points and Fabric like this, and it's actually, this one's really straightforward. It's just gonna be polygon class, the line class, and if fabric, but if not fabric, clear. Yep, that works for me. That's the class. And points is point string of points. Nice and simple. Close the map, close the vector, close the function, save that. Let's give it a shot. Templates, template A, B, sources, template AB, template C, make it its own thing, and we'll put that Yeah. No, that's the wrong button. There we go. Here, the name, template C, and we'll write some code here. We'll give a new figure. Copy that, paste that. Define template C as a call to polygon. Name template C. Get rid of that. Template C. Figure templates A and B. Diamond template, yeah. Templates A, B. This is going to be erroring out, of course. A list 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. That should make a triangle. Save that. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So now the next set of things I'm working on, or the next thing I'm working on will be right here. And template C is just going to be a simple polygon shape, and then the inset polygon shape of that. So not as simple, or not perfectly simple, but not too complicated either. I just need to look up an offset function and make that, which I can do later on. Okay, so we're going to start this here. That's 6 inches. So start at 0, 0, and then it's going to be 6, 0 is 0.2. So I have this template here. I'm just picking a corner to start this, and then measure this, and then I'll measure that and measure that, so that I can get all 5 of the coordinates proper. It's pretty simple, pretty direct way of drawing. In the future, I want to have like a little spawnable interactive thing almost, where you can kind of click and get, like, it'll draw out points for you quickly, and then put out the point string or something like that, so you can quickly paste things back in. So at the very least, I have some kind of more rapid prototyping of drawings. That'll have to come in the future, but that'll be really cool, I think. Okay. 0.3 is going to be 3 1/4 x by 2.75 y, I think. And then 0.4 here is going to be 0, 2.75. One, 2, 3, 4. It's only 4 points, not 5. My counting skills have decreased today, apparently. So if I do that, there we go. Right, so that looks like this. You can kind of tell. They're copies of each other. This is really weird to... my brain is not comprehending like orientation of the camera properly right now. Anyway, you get the point. That's the point I'm trying to make. Yeah, so that's a basic thing. And then if I Actually, I want to test something here. Copy. Oh, wait, let me get into a different namespace for a minute. Okay, so if I define foo, so foo is just a list of points. If I flatten foo, what happens? Okay. Max of that. That's not what I thought it was. Max. I don't know what is. Let's see. Clojure.repl/doc max returns the greatest of the nums. Do I have to apply max to? There we go. Okay. Right, so what I'm trying to think is I'm trying to cheat my way to an easy way to find the middle. Oh, I can a little bit, right? If I do, let's see here. So I've got foo is a list of lists all containing two things. So if I map first onto foo, I get the x values. If I map last onto foo, I get the y values. So if I do max map max onto that, what, I missed something there. Oh, apply, not map, apply that, I get the largest x value. And if I do that same thing, apply max map last foo, I get the largest y value. And that gives me, if I assume the shape that I'm given is at 0, 0, then the max x and max y give me a rectangular bounding box for that shape. And then if I find the center point of that bounding box, I have a spot where I can put a label. That makes a little bit of sense. So let's make a function that kind of does that for me. Define get our bounding box center. So this would not work for a shape that, no, it should work. Well, so I technically need to do, if I do this with min, if I do it with min as well, then I don't need to assume it's at 0, 0. I can have it, if it's negative values and stuff, it should still work. Yeah, is that true? Well, let's put a negative in there to find out. If I define the starting position as -1, -3, and then run this, yeah, okay, so that works. I wonder if I could get really clever with this too and do map into vector the result of into vector does that work? Let's see. Into vector min of 2 and 1 and max of 2 and 1 or 3 and 4. Oh, I have to put this in a list probably. List. Yeah, okay. So let me try to be clever here for a minute. Map into vector I could just do this. Min. No. Max of first and max of last. If you vec that, you map that over foo. Wrong number of args passed. Oh, I think I have to like apply. But I can't do this. Oops. Okay, well that's not a big deal. That's no problem. Right, I could just do this. Vec of list of that and oh. I'm thinking about this wrong, of course. Let's not be clever. Let's just do it the way that I know is going to work. Right, so find bounding box center given a list of points. Then what you have to do is just check 4 things. You want max x max, y max, x min, y min, right? Then from that, the center of those things is just a single point. So this whole thing is going to give you a single point out, which is going to be x max plus, no, half x max plus x min, right? Let's see if that makes sense. We'll test this in a minute. Half of x max plus x min. And then the y is going to be the same idea. Half y max plus y min. And that's in a vector. Right, so there we go. So to find x max, it was, where did I have it where it was working? Let's go back a bit here. Yeah. Apply max to map first of points. Apply max to map last of points is y max. Same idea. Apply min to map first of points. X's map first points, Y's map last points. So I don't have to repeat this. X's, Y's, X min is the min of the X's, and Y min is the min of the Y's. Easy. Min of the y's. Let's see if that function makes any sense. So, given a set of points that's going to be a square, bounding box center, let's assume it's a list of points that are 0, 0 to 0, 2, 0, and 2, 2 to 0, 2. So that's a square. So the center should be 1, 1, which we get. Now, if I do -1, -1 is the starting point, 2 to -1, 2, 2 is the max point there, -1. So the total square is 3. It's 3 by 3, so you have the center of a 3 by 3 is 1.5, but it's offset, so it should be by half and half, I think. 0, 0. That's incorrect, right? Because it should in fact be at 0.5. It should be, right? Is that right? If these are -2, so I've got some logic wrong here, obviously. Shouldn't it just be max minus min divided by 2? Max y min divided by 2. Right, so that's not correct. I'm not thinking properly. So it should still be right for if I have 0, 0 as the starting point here. Yeah, so that's obviously correct. The square of 2, 2 will have its center at 1, 1 if its corner is at 0, 0. That makes obvious sense. But it should be, this should be 0, 0, not 2, 2, right? So that's obviously ludicrous. So let me change tack for a minute and I'll think about that again in a moment. Let points be this whole thing. Right, so that's points. So just polygon points and label, move the label to bounding box center of points. Yeah, label C. So at least this should work. And then I just have to fix the math there. Go there, because I think I broke something. Page of slurp diamond point.md. Oh shoot. I messed something up with the there. That should work now. Oh. Gotta move it there. All right. Okay. Template C, I have to wrap this in a list. And that should work. Let's check that. Okay. Yeah, so that works, but it's really weird, right? So what I would actually want is find a function that finds the center of gravity of a shape, of a polygon shape, right? Which actually there is a way to do that. You split the shape up into rectangles and triangles and calculate the CGs of those spots, and then you do some math to combine those. So it's a little more involved, but there is a way to do that, and I might add that if I can remember how to do it. That's kind of a cool one, right? Because really I don't want this to be centered here so much as be kind of in this spot, right? Because that would look, it just makes more sense in the brain. Because right now this is literally just halfway on this line and halfway on this line, which works because the bounding box is gonna properly do that there. So oh, here we go. I think this should solve. Plus, is it math.absolute? Math/absolute -2. Yeah. No. Whatever. X max divided by 2. Y max divided by 2. Then you don't need the mins either. And now for something completely different, Clojure remove symbol from namespace. Clojure undefine a symbol. Is this what I'm trying to find here? Unbind. Let's see if unbind works the way I want it to. Stylo.fabric. Right, so we have bounding box center here, which I want to get rid of. So, dot unbind root. The symbol is bounding box center. Oh. Oh, maybe this is what I'm looking for. ns unmap. The namespace is stylo.fabric, and the symbol is bounding box center. Hey, there we go. That's kind of what I wanted. So what I want to do now is see if this throws an error or not. It looks like it's fine. Let's go stylo.builder, namespace stylo.builder. Go there and let's run the file. Why would that be? It's supposed to not be. Let's try that now. Okay. Got something working. Okay, so now we're back to errors there. Now it's working. Let's go like this. Let's see that. Let's see if that makes sense. Okay, we're good. Okay. I just realized this one, this template C will actually be a little bit easier. Inner points. Let's do that. Inner points, actually outer points there, and we'll define an outer points thing. Outer points right, so the inner points thing is going to be here, but I'm gonna move it by 1/4 inch, 0.25, 0.25 there, and then outer points 0, 0. 7, 0. This one will be 2.7, 3.25. Yeah, this should be. And 3.5. 3.5, 3.25, and 0 and 3.25. So that's the outer, which will be like this, polygon, outer points. Let's see if that looks okay. Something went wrong. Unmatched delimiter. Let's have a look here. Polygon outer points. Oh, did I miss something here? In fact, I did. Try that one. Polygon. Polygon. Hey, got something. See, this is again an indication that I really do need to make a proper offset function, inset, outset, that kind of thing, to translate the points out appropriately, or in whatever way, because that doesn't look good. And I don't want to be guessing either, right? I want things to be accurate. So actually, while I'm on it, this should be 6.125, and that'll look a little better. Once it builds. I didn't really notice a difference. Yeah, well, okay. It's something. 6.125. 1.875. It's closer again. Outer points. So now I just want to put one more thing on this diagram before I head out. Yeah, I gotta get going soon. I should have a function here, a points. No, a dot, I think I called it. A dot at 1, 1 has the shape circle with the class of attention, which, okay. If I put that in this list here, let's do can I map dot onto inner points? Let's try that. We shall see if that works. It probably isn't working for a reason that I can't think of, but it will be obvious once I read the error message. Oh, right. Wait. Oh, points. Silly. That's when I know it's about time to take a break. When I'm just not spelling things right, or like it's very obvious that something's wrong, and I just missed it. Okay. Right. I have to move. I have to do some sort of weird thing here where I do move by 0.25, 0.25. The function, yeah, it's got to go like this. Dot, put that in there. If I map that to inner points, that should move everything 1/4 inch to the right and 1/4 inch down. Yep, perfect. Now, if I make the scale 1, what happens? That's the last thing I want to check. Last thing for me to check. Okay, it's tiny. Oh, I must have inverted my scale approach or something like that. Oh, no. That's right. Because I'm assuming, so these are pixel values. So by default, these are all pixels. So the scale, ooh, this is going to be, I'm going to need the concept of like DPI or something like that, dots per inch, right? So if I imagine a 72 DPI thing, make this scaled 72. I don't know what DPI my screen is, so this might not make any sense at all. So that's going to be, since this scale has to be real size, this is going to be weird to do. So the size of this, I'm going to do a good old-fashioned hold it to the screen thing. Right, so that's wrong. Is it 90? The image on my screen is too small. And then of course, when I print this as a PDF, that's going to be even more wrinkly. So probably I'm going to have to sort of go back and forth a little bit here. So that's too big. 86. Right, so that's close, but not completely accurate. So for the sake of sanity today, make that that. Make sure that builds over there, and then I'm going to get going. Yep. Okay, so we have a basis, we've got a beginning. I managed to make a diamond function that draws diamonds, which is really quite nice. I have a sort of stub for a diamond template function here, which is important to check the arithmetic so that it actually has a proper offset scenario. It's important, I think, to make a generic points offset function so that I can actually build polygons without manually creating, like I want outer points to be derived from the inner points automatically without me having to calculate stuff. So that's what I need to do yet. But finally, I managed to create a workflow that uses a nice external watcher tool and live server to kind of nicely allow me to create documents in a little more streamlined fashion. So I'm really happy with that. Anyone watching, I really appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to be doing this more and more as time goes on, and I'm going to be getting better and better at both programming and streaming. So stick around if you want to be part of that. That'd be really cool. At any point, feel free to leave comments, talk in the chat, that kind of thing. I'd love to engage and love chatting about programming, chatting about your day, anything like that. But as always, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that, and I'm going to keep this up. And I'm going to get going right now, so have a good one.